This is Yerushalmi Berachos Daf Yud. In order to get Daf Yud off to a flying start, we start from right after the Mishnah and Pesach and Beis. Kini Masnisa. There's a way to learn the Mishnah, and I should point out that in the Yerushalmi, it doesn't say necessarily Masnisin for Mishnah. In the Bavli, Masnisa would indicate a Brisa, Masnisa in the Mishnah. In the Yerushalmi, Masnisa can also refer to the Mishnah. So, Ben Chel Shabbat Rabban Shabbat, the Rabbanon hold that that it says you distinction in Tchelas and the Tzitzis and Lam the Tzitzis. Matam the Rabbanon. What's the source of Rabbanon? Or Isam also Minas Samuchlo. So the Pnei Moshe says Matam Rabbanon Simu Isam is Samuchlo Mishavchim Batzitzis within the Tzitzis Ben Tchelas Lavan Hasamuchlo Liroso. When you can distinguish between the two of them, then Azuzu Onas Kriyashma. My time, Rabbi Lezer. What's large, Rabbi Lezer? We eat some masok deshi nikar ben hatzvuim, and the Gra puts in here the words hasmuchim. He understands that it has to be the similar colors, and that Pnei Moshe, even though he doesn't put in the word smuchim, he learns very similarly. He says nikar ben lezer darish yusem masok the kai al tchelas del el minei. It's going on specifically on the tchelas, not on the tchelas and the lavan. But it's going on the Tchelas. Tchelas ben Shaitzum Hakrovim, the Gvam Tchelas. When he distinguishes between Tchelas and similar, and colors is just similar to Tchelas, which in this case would be green. Time Sher Meir, the name Rabbi Meir Reisem, it says here Osa, but the Gra changes it to Osam. Engsiv Khan, it doesn't say Reisem Osam, El Reisem Oso. Magish Kom Kaim Mitzvah Tzitzis Kilu Mekabel Pnei Shchina. It teaches us that somebody who fulfills the mitzvah of tzitzis is as if kaviyachol, so to speak, he sees HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It was talking about the tzitzis, should say Risim Oso. You see the tzitzis, but it says Risim Oso. So it's as if they're Mekabel, he's Mekabel Pnei Shchina, that he has a perception about HaKadosh Baruch Hu kaviyachol. And Magid is famous Joshua Rabbi Meir, in the Bible, of course. Shat Chelas Doime Yom. The Chelas is similar to the sea. Vayom Dome, and here the Gra also changes the gears from Asavim Dome Rakia, which is would be a little bit difficult to comprehend. The Gra changes that rather to Vayom, just he takes it out. He says Shat Chelas Dome Yom Vayom Dome Rakia. The Rakia Dome. And it said instead of kisei covered kisei doimel l'sapir, the Gra also changes here. The Rakia is doimel l'sapir, but sapir doimel kisei covered, which seems to follow more logically. That the sapir was the Rakia is like a sapphire, and the sapphire is like the kisei covered. And the Chsiv, it says, I saw on the firmament, on the sky, which is on top of the Kruv, top of one of the angels, something like the sapphire stone, which looked like a chair. So we see that the sapphire, the bluish tinge of the heavens is like the bluish tinge of a sapphire. The bluish tinge of sapphire is similar to the Kisei Kavod, which evidently has that bluish tinge as well. Others say, Risam Oso. How we learn Risam Oso? Kadeshi Yehe Adam Rachok Michabero Arba Amos Makiro. Especially 4 amos away from his friend and be able to recognize him. Rav Chisda said, we hold like the Achem in this respect. Manakamim. What are we talking about? This is very similar to the Bavli. Imber Rogil, if it's a friend with whom he's accustomed to see, was habituated to be with, I feel even if he's very far, even if he's quite far away, he can recognize him. When he's a Rogil, if it's somebody who's not accustomed to spend time with, I feel even if he's close to me, he doesn't recognize him. Ella Kananu Kamin. We're talking about the following case. Birogil Baragil b'shein ragil. In between. He's accustomed, not accustomed. Kuda ozile lachsanya v'asa kitin. Like somebody who goes frequently to a place. He's not from out of town because frequently to Alexandria to stay in a local hotel. And he comes occasionally, regular basis. So you see him sometimes in the city. So maybe he comes to you. Maybe Alexandria here means specifically your house. He comes and he stays with you. Although I think they would be making more custom. But anyway, he frequents the town, perhaps your house, perhaps a different house, and on occasions, and therefore you're ruggedly moktsas. Is tani ben zev lekelim. Those say the difference when you consider between a wolf and a dog. Ben chamor la road, between a donkey and a wild donkey. These tani they share rochel mechaver arba amos makiro. And those who learn, like similar to what we say before, it's a distance of 4 amos from your friend, and you recognize him. Who boy Maymar? He wanted to say, it's not clear who wanted to say it with this, but somebody in the base medrash wanted to say. If you look in the matter upon him, he says, "Have a who boy Maymar chedusha rash bazal goris havum boy Maymar." They wanted to say, and our Bonim says there's no significant difference, but I guess normally if we're talking about people in the base matters, we'd probably say that havum boy Maymar. They wanted to say. Madamar ben zev lekelev ben chamor arog. The opinion which shows that you have to be able to distinguish between a wolf and a dog, and between a donkey and a wild donkey. Those are very close, very similar. It's commandamar, so that would be like the opinion that says ben tcheles the karslan, so between blue and green. If you note again, the Yerushalmi is called lishna klila. They speak lightly. Lightly evidently means that they drop certain letters. So when it says command damar, instead of command the omar, dropping the aleph from both words. So uman damar, the other opinion, which shows they show them racham mechaber arba amos makiro. There'll be a distance of 4 amos from your friend and recognize him. Command damar ben chelos lavan. That it's which is more recognizable. It's easier to discern, and that would be like the opinion that's between Chelis and Lavan. Aval Amru, but they said that even though you can say it from the earlier times, mitzvah im hanetzachama. The mitzvah is to say it right just before sunrise, Kadesh Yismach Chilul and Tefillah, in order to be able to juxtapose Kol Yisrael to the Shmoneh the Nimtza Mitzvah Yom, and you'll be saying your Shmoneh by day. Rabbi Zira said, "For his time I'll be a pasuk for that this effect. Yerucha im shemesh. They should see you with the sun. In other words, the tefillah should take place as the sun is coming up." Amar Avukva have a sikha mashkin konosa kadeshis muchol tefillas im hanetzachama. As we know, the Vasikin were those who used to rise early and say Shema just before her nates, in order that they should be able to juxtapose it with the tefillah at netzachama. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Ma'aser Sheisi Mahalach B'derech Achrei Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Achrei Rabbi Akiva. I was following on the road. Rabbi Yehuda says I was following on the road, following Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah and Rabbi Akiva for Oiskim and mitzvos, and they were involved in mitzvos. This is not clear what mitzvah they were involved with here. But here it says, the Bnei Moshe says, time to set back Kamba, Vaskamar, Shu Oskim Mitzvah Tzibur. Involved in some public issue, which was considered to be a mitzvah. And Vigia Onas Kriyashma. And the time Kriyashma came, Vayisisho Hashem Yisiyashu Mikriyashma. Time for Shema came, they wanted to take Shema. So maybe they gave up on saying Kriyashma. The Bnei Moshe explains the Bishal Sukkah Mitzvah Subturim Kriyashma. Maybe they held the Oiskim Mitzvah, they're Patim in Mitzvah, they were not going to say Shema. The Karisi Vishonisi, and I read Shema, and Shonisi he said it again, or that he started learning. And only then afterwards, after I already said Shema, and again, enough time elapsed to say it twice, or so said Shema, and I guess that I was also davening and then learning. Then they started saying Shema. And the sun was already up high in the sky. It was on the top of the mountains. So it seems that they were not makbid to daven kivasikin. So the Mashbiach here has a fascinating and very interesting comment. Fascinating is even more than interesting. So let's stick with fascinating. He says that this story is not very different than the story of Rabbi Lezer, Akiva, etc., who were Mesumim Nebrak, which we say in Haggadah. And they were where they were told the Tzias time of the entire night. Until the Talmud came and said, Rabbi Seder, here's my Kriyash Mashal Shachris. Here too, Rabbi Yehuda is saying that they're involved in mitzvahs the entire night. And the time for Kriyash Ma came. And certainly Rabbi Yehuda would say to them, Rabbi Seder, here's my Kriyash Mashal Shachris. Right? But they weren't saying Shema. And he was not sure if they gave up the way he learns it, not because it was but because they forgot. Or maybe they held if with Hanei Tzachama. And Rabbi Yehuda did not realize that they were waiting to say it specifically. There's no reason Magdimin la mitzvahs issue that they should start Shema wet Mishiyakir, and that in fact you should wait till Hanei Tzachama. At this point, Rabbi Yehuda didn't realize that. So he says, "V'karisi v'shonisi." I read Shema and I said it over again. Kidei la'azkiram. In other words, I kept trying to remind them. And then and they heard me, and they didn't say Shema until the sun was at the top of the hills. And now, the way Rabbi Shbiach learns that's Hanei Tzachama. That is sunrise. Like Ziri said, Yerucha im Shemesh. That they already they said as you're supposed to if at the same time that the sun rises. It's interesting. There's a whole issue in halacha whether we go by the Hanetz astronomy or Hanetz Hanira. Do we go by the sunrise at sea level, or go by sunrise at which can be seen? Which when the sun rises above the mountains, it takes some time to get up to the top of the mountains and then be seen over the top of the mountains. So this seems to be going with the shita that it's the Netz Hanira. I think most tables which we use are based on the astronomical sunrise, but this one is clearly based it would seem to be based, if the Mashiach's shot is right, on the sun coming over the top of whatever mountain is in the way. So that is the idea here that Kfar Hoysachama Roshi Arim, it was at the top of the mountain and peeking out. And he learned from them, obviously, Rabbi Yehuda must learn from them the halacha at that point, that it goes that you delay Shema until it's right before Netz Tzachama, in order to be Soymekul Tefillah, or in order to fulfill the Pasuk, Yeruchim Shemesh, same idea. Ad Netz Tzachama, Rabbi Zvadia Braid, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Zavdi Shem Yena, Kidei Shachama Mitaftefes Al Roshi Arim. That the sun should be the way the Pnei Moshe said, Mitaftefes means beginning to rise, but also it seems like it drips out. Tiftuf, tipos, drops, like it's dropping out, but it's dropping up in this case, over the top of the mountains. Rabbi Shua ad shows. Rabbi Shua says until 3 hours. Rabbi Idev, Rabbi Hinu, Rabbi Ada Bar Racha b'Shem Rab, Alok Rabbi Shua b'Shocheach. If you got to say Shema before Hanetz Tzachama, so then you can say it up to 3 hours. I believe that the Rambam says that reading Shema after Hanetz Tzachama, not davening Kvasikin, is really b'diavad. The Chatchila is supposed to always daven Kvasikin. So this seems so that would be very similar to what he's saying here. We forgot. Bihuna Mar train Amoroim. There was Malachim, 2 Amoroim. Charamar b'Shocheach. One was what said it's when you forgot. His friend responded to him. There's a such thing as halacha by forgetfulness. In other words, it shouldn't say that halacha Rabbi Yeshua b'shocheach. You say im shochach. You read Shema. It wasn't halacha Rabbi Yeshua b'shocheach. Kach halacha. He says no. This is halacha. In other words, up to 3 hours a day is the chatchila, and that's why it says halacha. So why are they attacking the word b'shocheach? To be incentive for a person to read at the proper time, but it really is not. It's not literally that it's b'diavad after Netzachama. It's still chatchila. That's why it's called halach Rabbi Yeshua. B'shocheach is a little bit of musar. Don't put it off like that. Make sure to do it at the right time. Okay. Tama Tanina. We learned over there. We interrupt for Kriya Shema, and we don't interrupt for Tefillah. In other words, if a person has started a meal or some other involvement, he has to stop in order to say Shema, which is Doraisa, and in order to say Tefillah, which is Dorabar. Rabbi Yacha, Kriya Shema, then he explains it. Rabbi Yacha, Kriya Shema, Dvar Torah, Tefillah is Dvar Torah. The Doraisa stop, not for Rabbanan. That's one possibility. Now the Gemara says different possibility. Rabbi Paul, Kriya Shema is mana kavua. Kriya Shema is a set time. We're afraid it's going to pass. Tefillah ain't mana kavua, and Tefillah does not have a set time, which is a little bit difficult because Tefillah also has a set time. So it could be that it means that Midoraisa doesn't have a set time. Kriya Shema Midoraisa has a set time. Tefillah doesn't have a set time. Midoraisa. Rabbana came and instituted regular time, but Midoraisa, then Tefillah does not necessarily have a specific time. Rabbi Yossi said Kriya Shema and Tzurcha Kavana. Another distinction. Kriya Shema doesn't require a Kavana. The Tefillah Tzurcha Kavana, and if you have to stop in the middle, you're not going to be able to sustain a proper Kavana. A little bit of Kavana, enough to say Shema, which is a short burst. That you can do. It doesn't require so much kavana, but tefillah requires much more kavana because it's a much longer process, and therefore you have to interrupt. We can interrupt for Shema, which doesn't interrupt, which will be able to say with kavana. You won't be able to interrupt for tefillah because your tefillah will not be able to be with kavana until you finish the task which you're involved. So the Gemara is not 100% satisfied with this distinction. Amrami Mono, Kashise Kumi Rabbi Yossi. I asked Rabbi Yossi about this. I feel Tema Kriya Shema Yitzurcha Kavana. Okay, let's say Shema doesn't require Kavana. Shlosh Psukim Rishonim Yitzurcha Kavana. The first two Psukim require Kavana, presumably Shema, Baruch Shem, and Vahavta. So if that's the case, we have the same issue, like Shema as by Tefillah. Says, well, no. Mean Godin und Sfachar, because they are a little amount. They're not many of them, only 3 psukim. So, Mechavin, he's okay, he can be Mechavin even though he has distractions on account of his involvement in wherever he's involved. We do have the principle that by Shemona Esrei also only the first pasuk really has to have kavana. First bracha has to have kavana, but the first bracha I guess is going to be longer than the first the first 3 psukim of Shema. But I think there's also something else here, which is that Shema, you're not addressing it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shema is addressed to oneself. It's not. It's a classic kind of tefillah. It's a statement, a statement of emunah. So therefore, it's not so much a sign of lack of derech eretz if you don't have kavanah during Shema, the rest of Shema, of course. But tefillah, since it's oimed lifnei hamelech, so therefore it's inappropriate not to have proper kavanah. And perhaps that's the difference between the rest of Shema and Shemona Esrei. We know that the Rambam holds that for the first bracha of Shema, Shemona Esrei, you have to have kavanah perish milin. Rest of them you have to oimed lifnei hamelech, and that's a lower form of kavanah, but also is a form of kavanah. Whereas for Shema, perhaps you don't have to have any Once you pass the first three psukim, it's nice to have kavana to know what you're saying and pay attention to what you're saying. But perhaps since it's not kohen l'fnei melech, therefore you don't even have to have that gravitas, and therefore it is. Once you pass the first three psukim, it's very, very different than Shemon Esrei, where prior to Shemon Esrei you have to have in mind that you're oimid lifnei hamelech. Not sure I made that 100% clear. Again, in Shemon Esrei, could be that when it says that only first three psukim require kavana, even the same level of kavana of which we require in Shemon Esrei for the rest of Shemon Esrei, of oimid lifnei hamelech standing for the king, but the rest of Shema is not required. Only need to have kavana for the first three psukim, and then afterwards you don't have to have that kavana. Rabbi Yochanan b'shem Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. We are involved in learning Torah. Afilu kriya Shema ein anu mafsikim. We don't interrupt even for Shema. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Garmei. Well, actually, this really is going on to the next Amud. So. Let's read the line. We'll come back to tomorrow, but let's read this line for the top of the next Amud. Yochanan Kamei said upon himself, we are not constantly involved in learning Torah. Rabbi Yochanan didn't go 4 hours without Torah and Tefillin. But okay, you're not constantly on Torah. I feel Tefillah and seeking. So now we do interrupt for Shema. We also interrupt for Tefillah.